Well, welcome everyone. As I actually messed up the 30-second countdown, you only saw the last 8 seconds of that. So for those who are joining in late, welcome in to the live reaction show with myself, Steve Wyss, and Nigel Seeley. Nigel, it's been a few weeks since you've been on. How's things?
Good, mate. All good. All good. Looking forward to this football match. This Arsenal-Liverpool game. I think it's the game of the season so far. Really am looking forward to this one.
Feels pivotal. I think if Liverpool win this game, I think Arsenal are out of the title race. I've got to be honest. I think they're gone. But for those coming in who are after a bet right now, they probably hopefully watched the EPL preview show. But a bit of value. What you think? What are your thoughts on this game from a betting perspective, Nigel?
I think that Liverpool have got an absolutely unbelievable road record, haven't they? I think they've only lost one in the last 16 road matches. Arsenal in this fixture over the years haven't had it their own way. Liverpool have got a very good record against them. I just think it's do or die for Arsenal. They've got to go out and they've got to get something from it. Liverpool, I think a draw will be a good result for Liverpool. I think that if you look at it, Liverpool, about the goals they have in their team is the thing that sort of turns it in favour for me. I mean, the Liverpool side is just full of goals. They're plus 225 to win this. Arsenal plus 118 and the tie is plus 265. And the team news has come out today on the match, and I don't think it's been good team news for Arsenal. There's no Jesus. I think. What's his name? Is it Odegaard not out? Is he out as well? I think Odegaard.
Odegaard
does play. Odegaard does play.
It's Kai Havertz is set down to lead the line for Arsenal. Kai Havertz.
That's the difference. I mean, Havertz and leading on with all those and Martinelli. I mean, they're not nowhere near the level of what Liverpool have got, and they're doing. And their goal threat is without Salah as well. So. I think Liverpool edge it. I think that draw no bet would be my angle here. I think that Arsenal have got to come all out. But my main pick, and if you have watched the Premier League show, you'll see my main pick. My main pick is on cards in this match. I think that over 5.5 cards, it was plus 115. I think it was. I think it's now minus 115. So I think cards in the game here is the way to go, because I just think that they've got to. It's a cup final for Arsenal. I mean, historically, this fixture hasn't been really that fiery. There hasn't been many bookings, but it hasn't been as important as what it is now. I mean, Arsenal-Liverpool is a huge rivalry again, and the two matches they played in this season, there was 5 bookings in the FA Cup game when it was a reserve side, and there was 7 in the league fixture. Last season it was 8, and last season it was the first time that Liverpool and Arsenal for many years become a top of the table match involving the title rather than a place in Europe. So I think this here, with the way this match is going to go, I think the bookings here over 5.5 cards at minus 115 would be, if anybody's coming on late, I think you want an interest in the match, I think that will be the way to go. I expect Arsenal to come out fast. I expect, really go for it for the first 20 minutes, but Liverpool in second halves come strong. And I think the goal threat that Liverpool offer on the pitch and on the bench is that so much stronger than Arsenal. We know that Arsenal's problems are scoring goals. Arteta hasn't bought a striker. He's been linked with pretty much every striker in Europe, but he hasn't done that in the transfer window. And I think that will ultimately prove the problem for Arsenal this season when they're going for the title again. They haven't got that 25 goal a season striker that they desperately need. So I think the edges with Liverpool. I expect goals. This Premier League weekend has been full of goals. But if you have a bet now, over 5.5 cards, minus 115.
I'll tell you a player who might go in the book. Kai Havertz is very dirty. He fouls a lot. I'd rather back him to go in the book than score a goal. Plus 205 with Bet Rivers for Kai Havertz. I quite like one that stood out to me, Nigel, here. Trent Alexander-Arnold for an assist at plus 450. Now, he's come back into the side. The bad news about Conor Bradley's dad. Bradley played really well in his absence, but I think Trent's fired up here. He looked so dangerous against Arsenal in the cup match here. And when you think if you're going to attack Arsenal, you would attack their left-hand side. Zinchenko can be roasted sometimes. And I think Trent will get an opportunity to score, and we know he's dangerous from the set pieces. So I don't think Liverpool lose the game either. I agree. Draw no bet on them might be good, or the plus handicap. And initially I was thinking Liverpool get the job done here because they've looked so good recently, but it is Arsenal's season on the line, and that's got to mean for something. So interesting game. Let's hope we get them cards cashing. Welcome in everyone. Paul Laguna, great to see you. Shane as well. Hello. We've got some questions in already. Shane is asking, we're going to talk about futures markets in a minute, Shane. And Charles as well, welcome in. We're going to talk about the future markets. But Liverpool, there's been a lot of talk about them recently with Jurgen Klopp announcing at the end of the season that he's stepping down. I can't decide whether it's been a good or a bad thing. I'm more leaning now towards I think it might galvanise them, Nigel. But how do we approach Liverpool now in all competitions the rest of the season? At the minute, it seems to have fired them up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they want to go out on a high. They want to win trophies for Klopp. Klopp is probably the best man motivator out of everybody. You know, in the football league, in the Premier League, the way he gets galvanised his team and players will run through brick walls for him. You know, you only got to look at what Van Dijk has said, that he wants to see who comes in before he makes any decisions. Salah has obviously been linked with moves into Saudi last season. He stayed with them. Probably Klopp was the main reason there. Yeah, I think that Liverpool will. I think they'll just go about their business as normal. I think it will just play it down. I think it will only come into state with about 2 or 3 games to go, when the reality is that they're going to be his last couple of games. My take on it was all. I mean, I don't know if I think I mentioned it on with Dan when the speaker out. I think I mentioned it with Dan. Klopp has won every trophy for Liverpool, barring the Europa League. And that's the only trophy he's eluded him. And I think that they'll go all out to win that trophy so he can retire or leave Liverpool with the full set of every domestic and European trophy that he can possibly have. So I think the 2 plus 225, which is it's a really poor Europa League, isn't it? It's a shocking Europa League.
Well, funny enough, Mike Roos has asked on Twitter to us his question. He's got Leverkusen. He's got a ticket on them 20-1 to win the Europa League. With rumours swirling about Xavi Alonso heading to Liverpool, what are your thoughts on the Leverkusen-Liverpool? I mean, imagine if that's the final. I mean, that would be like, it could be, couldn't it?
It could be. I mean, I think Leverkusen will be the ones that will be, if Alonso goes or there's speculation about him going, I think they're the ones who will be affected more than anybody. I form will struggle. I mean, they're in a cup quarter final on Tuesday night against VfB Stuttgart. Then they've got. And if there is some kind of sort of rumour circling around them, but judging by the betting to be the next Liverpool manager, there's, these markets don't just suddenly move to the significance without people putting money on who probably know a little bit more than what we do. So I think that you would see money come for them, and I think they're a side that you might want to fade at the moment, Leverkusen, because much more about the Bundesliga than I do. But I just think if your manager is constantly, and he's been the main reason why they've been a revelation this season. If he's constantly linked with the move to Liverpool and there's speculation, it's going to affect you. And I think that will be a hindrance for them. And I think if I was on 20-1 Leverkusen, I mean, I'll be delighted because you want a 20-1 shot or 6-1, but I would possibly look to sort of lay against that in some matches in later in the stages in the quarterfinal tie or a last 16 match when they're up against someone. But I do think that Leverkusen will be really affected by this Klopp news if Alonso keeps being linked with it.
Fox Fee, welcome in. Great to see you. He says he doesn't believe it's possible to go after both the league and the Europa League. Like there has to be maybe a priority over the others. But the Europa League, I mean, we don't know the draw yet, but you are right what you say, Nigel. I don't think there's that many great teams in it, if we're being honest.
Liverpool could get to the semi-final of the Europa League by putting the reserve side out, can't they? Really? I mean, realistically.
Yeah, I think it's very possible, yeah.
They don't have. They can rotate. They've got a big enough squad. I mean, look at what they're doing now without Salah here. I mean, when he comes back, that's another. He's not even. He's injured at the moment, isn't he? So, I mean, their reserve team. I mean, you've seen teams like Manchester City win the quadruple lot. They win the world. I mean, everything with their reserve side, and Liverpool can win the Carabao Cup with their reserve side as well. So, I wouldn't worry about that. But I don't think. I think obviously the Premier League is his priority. Don't get me wrong, but I think. Wouldn't you, if you were Jurgen Klopp, wouldn't you love to retire with everything?
Everything, yeah.
So there is going to be some added incentive there that you want to win that trophy, and I think the players will know that as well. Then I think they want to win that trophy for him. So I think they were plus 225 to win the Europa League prior to Klopp going, and then now with Klopp going, I think that helps their chances in that competition.
Shane asked, is there any alternative futures markets you wanted to side with Liverpool? Well, I think you just said there, Nigel, Europa League would be the one for you.
I mean, the FA Cup, you've got to be so lucky. I mean,
PFA Player of the Year as well. You
well,
mentioned
I'm on Trent
Trent.
Alexander-Arnold to win that, but I don't think he's. I don't know. What is the latest betting on that? I wouldn't be rushing to. I can't think of anybody other
right
than
now who would win it. If the award was given now, who would win PFA Player of the Year? It's a good question, isn't it?
Declan Rice would be high up there. I think he'd be high up there. I'm going to look at the betting now. Declan Rice, Haaland, you still got to think if he
probably
comes
Mo,
back and scores.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, he's missing. It is a difficult one. Who else would you think?
Of course, it depends who wins the title. Because if Liverpool win the title, they'll want to give it to a Liverpool player, and it's the same for City or Arsenal, for example. I think if Arsenal win the title, probably Declan Rice would be the favourite, right?
Yeah, he would be the one I like. There's PFA Player of the Year. The favourite as we stand now is, well, God, they've suspended betting, so there's no betting at all. So no one. I don't know who the favourite is. Trent Alexander-Arnold will be up there, and I've bet him. I think I bet him 33-1 at the start of the season. So hopefully we'll do all right.
Charles Saul has asked, he saw City at -135 at one book before the weekend. After this game, is it a buy low point for City?
Well, I mean, what they did last year, everyone just remembers that run they went on, and they just steamrolled everyone and won every tournament. And that's what everybody expects Man City to do. But it's not as easy as that. You know, that was just a freak, really, what they did last year when they went on that unbelievable run. You know, we were talking about a real title race all the way between Arsenal and Manchester City, and then Man City just put the afterburners on and won it. I don't think it's as easy to do that, and I think the Liverpool side is a much. I'd rather have the points in the bag always. So I don't know. I think that Man City have got some. They've got to go to Anfield, haven't they, as well? And that's they've got some really big games, Man City. If you look at the early part of next month, they have Manchester United. I know Manchester United aren't playing that well, but it is a Manchester derby. They have a Champions League match. Then they go to Liverpool. Then they travel to Brighton, and then they travel to Man City. And then they play. They host Arsenal, and then they play Aston Villa. So the March is Man United, Liverpool away, Brighton away, Arsenal at home, and Aston Villa at home. And that is when you're gonna. That's the time when that's if they win 4 of them matches, they're going to win the league, aren't they? But yeah,
I think personally the result of this game and how this game pans out is massive. So I don't think we can really. It's almost a question sort of ask us Monday morning.
Well, if Liverpool win this match, Man City will probably be pushed out to about what price did the guys say they were?
-135.
Well, I reckon they probably got to about -120. Maybe -115.
Maybe close to even.
This is a huge match for Liverpool if they win it. Yeah, so they'll big movers, and then Arsenal will go out to say, I reckon Arsenal go about 25-1 to win, 20-1 to win the league if they lost here at home. So it would become a 2-runner race, and you would get a bigger price. But obviously this is key. I mean, this is pretty set up how you would expect. I think Liverpool will be pretty happy with a draw here, personally. I think so.
Yeah.
It's all on Arsenal. Everything's on Arsenal. They've got to get something from it.
We've had quite a lot of questions coming already about the relegation battle, and especially I think there's 3 people already asked about Luton Town.
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
Will they now survive? A couple of their players, Charles, have been saying how impressive they've played recently. This leads us into the relegation battle, and it looks like one spot because Burnley, Sheffield United, we've said for weeks they're in trouble. Burnley maybe have got a glimmer after coming from behind yesterday. That was a good comeback for you, Nigel. One of my favourite players, David Datro Fofana, bagged a brace of goals for them.
Yeah. He's now one of my favourite players as well.
I tell you what, they've lacked a goal scorer. He's always been thought of as a sort of enigmatic talent. Maybe he could fire them into some sort of competitiveness. I don't know, but it looks like one spot for about 4 or 5 teams, maybe. Now, Luton are still the favourites, around even money now to be relegated, which is a lot bigger than they were, it must be said. I mean, maybe we can bring sort of Crystal Palace into this. And
they would be my bet now. If I had to have a bet now, Palace would be my bet.
This leads into Roy Hodgson. It's announced that he's leaving at the end of the season, right?
Yeah,
but might that happen before then?
Oh, if you looked at the Crystal Palace forums and stuff, they want him out now. I mean, he needs, to be fair. I mean, yesterday he got it wrong with Elise, didn't he? Brought him on, lasted 5 minutes and pulled up. He's got no Elise. He's got no Eze now. I mean that's Palace. That's they won't win a game without them two. That is that's all they've got. I think they're in real trouble, and it's not nice at Crystal Palace. I mean, I've been a few times this season. The fans are turning on them, and they want changes, and they're not happy with the board. They're in big trouble here. But Luton, I mean, they got no fear. I mean, the manager's been brilliant, hasn't he? I mean, Rob Edwards.
How do you explain Luton's sudden transformation into just looking like a very good Premier League side?
I think they've just been. I know it sounds crazy, but I think they've been galvanised by the sort of that terrible injury that happened to Lockyer. I mean, Denmark did the same thing with Christian Eriksen, and they reached the semi-finals of the Euros, didn't they? You know, so they after losing the first match. So sometimes adversity sort of spurts you on, and the manager's just sort of gone out. And I think they probably played.
Well, he's manager. Is he manager of the season for you?
Yeah. And he's too good looking as well. I mean, that's another bad. You know, he's not only is he a good manager, but he's a good looking man as well. Like my wife doesn't like football at all. And she was watching the other day and she couldn't take her eyes off Match of the Day when he came on. I was like very, very offended. You want old school managers like Sean Dyche or Roy Hodgson. You don't want good looking ones like that. You don't want it. Sam Allardyce, Big Sam. But he's. But I think he's sort of. I think that they've sort of playing now as though they've got no kind of. There's more to life than football. And there's that sort of just go and have a go and just play with freedom. There's no fear. And it's great to see. I mean, they got Manchester City in the FA Cup, at home. Man City won't fancy that. I'm telling you that.
Ross Barkley's looking amazing at the minute. I mean, he's a shout to go to the Euros now. I mean, he should probably.
Oh, no, he won't go to the Euros.
But who would you rather take? Right, would you rather?
You've got more chances to get the Euros than him.
Henderson or Ross Barkley to the Euros? No, serious question.
He won't go to the Euros. Henderson will go. He's an England captain. He's experienced. There's no way that he will go. He will definitely won't go. But he is playing well. I've always liked him. I thought Everton, I liked him, and then I liked him when he went to Chelsea. But I thought in the bit parts he played there, he played well. Arsenal are in here. This could be a goal here.
Big chance for Havertz.
Saka scored.
And Saka scores for Arsenal. I knew Havertz would miss. Havertz is not a composed finisher. I don't know. Let's have a look. VAR, you never know, do you? But goal for the Arsenal. This is when you're saying, "Take your shirt off, son," and let's have a booking.
Yeah. Well.
But to go down, and I mean, I wouldn't bet on Luton at I think -105 to go down now. I would not bet. I think they stay up, but especially as there's points deductions. Charles is asking about those potentially coming. I mean,
you could have bet that market. You couldn't bet that market without like you couldn't really bet it with any confidence because it could be one outside the. I would steer clear of anything that is uncertain about. But on this present moment of time, you would say yes, Luton are playing well and they should survive. But a couple of injuries, they've got such a small squad, it could all change. But I would at the current prices, if it was a level playing field. Crystal Palace at 8-1 would definitely interest me with those two players out.
How do you approach teams? Because there's quite a few of them actually across Europe at the minute who've already said that their manager's leaving at the end of the season. And I suppose you've got to look at each club as on an individual thing. But that never sits right with me. I just think you just don't know how the players are going to react. They don't know always if and when a new manager's going to be named. Are those sort of teams dangerous to bet on from a betting perspective?
I think it's a fact. I don't think it's a massive. I don't think it's something that you would. I mean, if Liverpool lost there, it's nothing to do with Jurgen Klopp going. It's just the fact they've had a bad day, a bit complacent. Yeah. I think it's a small fact and nothing major. I think the thing is with manager markets is that it's the uncertainty for the players who are at the club wanting to know who the manager is. They're out of contract. They want to know. They want to make a decision early. Liverpool need to make a decision early because they've got big players who are out of contracts who might want to leave, and they need to get that sorted for next year. And then if that isn't sorted, then it would become a problem with players. But I don't think it's going to be a massive issue for players. And then a lot of the clubs where players move, the manager moves to a bigger club or he moves on to bigger things, the players will play even better because they want to improve the manager and the manager take them with them. So I think it's more to steady the ship for next season than anything else. I'll give you some odds on this. This match.
I was just looking at the odds now. Actually, yeah, Arsenal minus 230, the tie plus 350, Liverpool nearly 5-1. We bet with
and the total goals is 3.5 now, over 3.5 minus 103. I mean, this Premier League so far there's 38 goals in the Premier League this week in 9 matches, averaging about 4.6 a game coming into this match for the Premier League. It's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I'm a very heavy, people know I'm an unders better, but this season
not in this league.
Not you can't be doing that. You're gonna go skint. You're gonna go skint. But it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the amount of goals are going on here. Absolutely.
I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, the Premier League show was on about this increase of goals back in October, even earlier. I mean, Dan Roebuck's like with his stats. I mean, I've seen suddenly recently a lot of theories have been coming out, and I'm like, it's too late because you needed to jump on this bandwagon a month or two ago. Really, everyone's saying now just get on the goals. Will they dry up?
Everything has cycles, Steve. You just can't keep betting overs and overs and overs and overs, and then suddenly they go the other way. So that's how betting is. It's variance. Things go. This week everyone will go, oh, it's been 47 goals and 37 goals in the Premier League this week. We're going to bet overs next week. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I think you have to look at it. You have to rebase the teams. Luton could suddenly become an overs team because they're just playing with no fear. I mean, they got Sheffield United next week. I mean, they beat them, and they're up. They're in a great position, aren't they? It's insane. I'll give you some latest dialogue. Arsenal are 7-1 to win the Premier League now, and Liverpool 2-1 with Manchester City currently minus 136. So that's the current price is now live to win the Premier League as we stand 1-0 to Arsenal.
Well, City want the draw or Arsenal win. That suits them better. So yeah, I mean it's these goals. If you pick your spot, I mean you hit a good under the last round Everton Fulham. I mean that was never in doubt because they missed so many chances, and I'm going to lead on from that now because we're going to have a section now to talk about how you approach betting and how you approach the metrics and stats side and how much of a big impact that sort of has on anyone betting on games, because we're at a stage of the season now, most of the leagues, 20 games in, there's a lot of data out there. It's not like August, September where we're go on last season's data. There's a lot of data now on teams, especially those using models with expected goals against, shots and stuff like that, field tilt for the ones who want to be even more elaborate. But Everton are by far, whatever website or model you use, the most underachieving side in the Premier League. 15, they've scored 15 fewer goals than they should have done on expected goals, for example. Are you at a stage now? Are you the sort of first of all, Nigel? How much do you use stats and metrics when you are assessing and evaluating your bets? You're more of an old school, but how much have you gone?
I don't really use metrics hardly ever. Really, I mean, very very rarely. Probably people say that's why I'm losing money this season. But I think you need to fundamentally know what a price is, what an odd is. I think you need to know your percentages. I think I'm old school in terms of I knowing exactly what a price is compared to a percentage. I would bet something to 100%, and then I'd make a favourable signal. I'd do my own odds, my own rough idea. That's having experience of being a trader myself in betting companies where we didn't use data in those days. It was just pen and paper and used to write down your odds, and that's pretty much how it was. I do think that I think data is brilliant, and I think that there is a lot of people who use it very successfully. But I also think there's a lot of factors that I sometimes worry about. So, for example, everybody uses the XG. So suddenly, Brighton, for example, when 2 seasons ago, when Brighton were creating so many chances and not scoring goals, they were being bet like the defeat was out of the question. I remember games where Brighton would start around about they sort of open up about minus 150, 160, and they'd start the match at minus $3. Now, when I still think that if you're using the same thing and saying Arsenal, Brighton are a bet, you have to get to the point where you know that they're no value at the current price. And I think that the data sometimes people just get crazy about it. Oh, the XG, we've seen the XG, blah 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 blah, but they wouldn't know what the price is. They wouldn't know like where the cutoff point is, where they should bet them, when they shouldn't bet them. So I still think that having a fundamental idea of odds percentages is key. That's number one. That has to be number one, because you have to be knowing that if you're betting something at plus 150, it's a 40% chance of happening. If you're betting something at plus 162, it's a 38% chance of happening. You have to know that. So you have to be aware of that. And I do think it's important. But for going back to your point there, now Everton should be 15 goals better off than what they are, right? Now, people will be betting them, saying, well, Everton are creating scores, but they're going to come good at some stage. That creates a public bet towards them.
Perception.
They bet them because they think they're going to come good at some stage. They just might have a really crap striker. Calvert-Lewin's crap. So, like, that doesn't, if he's still playing and they've missed 15 chances, just because they've missed them, he might be the problem. So, I think that once they get a replacement and get someone in, then would be the time to bet them. But I sometimes think that we just get a little bit carried away. Like Brighton, for example, with a perfect example. 2 seasons ago, but they couldn't score. They didn't have a decent striker. They had no score. They'd have all the percentage, 75%, 74%. But if you bet them at the prices each week at that season, you would have lost money. You would have lost serious amounts of money. And I think we just get a little bit carried away. I do get it. I do understand why people love the metrics, but for me, I would it would only play a very, very small part. You know, if I like a team, I look at the stats, look at their goal XG, I look at how they do, especially more in running. It's more in play. If I'm watching a match and I'm not actually watching it live, and I look at the thing and I think I've bet a team here, and it's like they're 45 minutes into the match, and I can bet them at plus 110, and I look at their XG and it's like 2.04. That would be more relevant for me for that match than it would be pre-match. I would look at XG and goals and data there. But pre-match, I still think you've got to have a rough idea on what the true odds should be. I think that's key. Number one.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. The Premier League's actually not, with the exception of Everton and maybe Chelsea, most of the teams are actually doing what they should be doing on their metrics. It's remarkably correlating actually for that league. But I'll give you an example in the Bundesliga. There's 2 teams that are one of them's doing me really well and one of them's doing my head in. Mainz, for example, I've been betting on their unders all season. They've got a massive XG underachievement in front of goal. But the reason is that no one can finish their chances, Nigel.
Yeah.
So I'm at a stage where some people might say, oh, they're going to eventually convert them. But why would they? They've not brought in a striker. You know what I mean? Nothing's really changing. So until you see an actually improved performance on the field, I don't think you can really go with it. And that might be the case with Everton. Calvert-Lewin has had a fairly poor season. I know he scored yesterday, but overall he's well below par. Then there's other teams. Heidenheim is a big example for them. Overachievement defensively and offensively and with expected points. And it gets to a certain stage. I'm sure you've been there yourself where you keep losing money on a team each week, and eventually you're like, have I got it wrong? Have I got a team wrong? And there's all stats for me are actually useless unless there's a reason for it, right? So you've got to look and you've got to delve deep. And I think it's about finding the right balancing act.
But it all goes back to the price, Steve. You can't just have a negative for a team and say, I'm going to bet them each week. The first thing is there have to be value to oppose them. You know, you can't just have, I really don't like this side. I really don't like this side. And then suddenly, like, you have to, the price always has to be value. I mean, at the moment, I'm currently opposing Swindon in League 2. I've been opposing Swindon for about 2.5 months now. You know, there's rumours that they weren't being paid. Their best 2 players were on loan, have gone back, and they contributed to like 3/4 of the club's goals. They've brought a load of new players in, 6 or 7 players, and they've got no time to gel. And but they're still, for me, value, and they're still being bet. If you look at the closing line of what price they start off and what time they finish the closing line, they always get bet. So there's still value at around about even money. But if someone was putting them up at, I bet them yesterday at evens. Now, if that price was minus 136, I wouldn't bet them.
So yeah, of course, it's all on the price. It's
everything is on the price. Yellow card there, mate. So that's quite good.
That's it. Gomez, wasn't it? And the book Havertz actually won the card, and I think that early goal actually should help cards bettors really.
Well, you need. Well, you would. I think you'd want a Liverpool goal for the cards because that would mean that Arsenal would have to push, and Liverpool might
probably second half. Yeah,
the win.
First half is good to get an early goal.
Yeah, the win is more important for the win is more important for for Arsenal and Liverpool in this match, I think.
Arsenal are one of the cleanest teams in the Premier League for cards.
I know.
So
I know.
Yeah, I think actually Liverpool might be the team that get more here. But I think it's a fascinating debate because of going to the metrics and betting, because I know some people out there and they're very good at what they do. They're basing it purely on the stats, purely on the metrics. They're taking a human emotion out of things. In some cases they've developed their own model, in fact, and that's fair play to them. I'm honestly a hybrid, I would say, of sort of old-fashioned gut feeling, eye test stuff, and I do mix that in with stats and metrics. But I've always learned that I think you've got to, like I said before, the stat has got to be worth something. There's got to be a reason why for it, and it's got to sort of make sense and combine and make a good concoction for you to ultimately formulate your bets. I'm a bit unique in that way, Nigel. Really, I'm neither one or the other. So, but it's each to their own, really. With betting, there's loads of different styles.
I mean, I seem to make more money years ago when there was no metrics and there was no betting exchanges, because I think sometimes you look at things and think, oh, I've read that wrong. I think you question yourself more now. I think if you made a bet, you made someone a bet at 2.2, and you looked at the metrics, you think, oh God, I might have got that wrong because they conceded X amount of XG, they conceded X amount of shots. So you might question yourself, and then you look at the betting exchanges over here, and the price might be 2.4. And you think, oh, I've read that wrong, and you don't have the bet, and then all of a sudden you go back and they win comfortably 2 or 3-0. I think there's too many things now that you question yourself on the metrics, the lines, and you think, hang on, this is right. Years ago, there was nothing like that. You just thought, they're a bet here at even money, I'm going to bet them. Now especially for tennis,
kind of more of a post-mortem.
I'm the worst at tennis. So, for example, tennis. Obviously, everyone knows that like tennis is one of the sports that I follow, and when I was younger, I was fearless in betting tennis. So I would have no problem in having like £1,000, like, not massive, like some of these Americans who are having like sort of 50 grand, 200 grand, nothing. I'd have about £1,000, but I had no problem. I was fearless. That price is wrong. 2.1 on that player, 1.1 on that player, sorry, plus 110 on that player is the wrong price. I'm having £1,000 on it, right? Now, on a Monday, I go through 10 matches, I put question and I check the head-to-head, I check the odds, I go to the exchange, and the one I want to bet at plus 110 is like plus 150, and you're thinking to yourself, what have I missed? There's something wrong here. There's something I've done something. You question, you think I've done something wrong. I must have missed out, and then you doubt yourself, and then you don't have the bet, and he wins 6-4, 6-3, and you think, so why didn't I do it? Years ago, there was no doubt because there was nowhere to check. That's the wrong price. I'm making 110. I'm having £1,000 on. I would probably give up. I probably throw away bits of paper with more bets that I should have had. Well, I just took myself out of it because I second guess. I worry about it, and I look at the analytics, I look at the data, and I think, well, I've got that wrong. And you never had that years ago.
Are we in a world where we maybe are overcomplicating things at times and need to keep it simple on occasion with betting?
I worked with a sports book, and the sports book years ago, like when the internet first come out, and the guys said to just give the bettors anything they want in terms of data analytics, like give them anything, give as much stats as you possibly can, because he says the more they have, the more they confuse themselves. That's what he used to say to me. But obviously, some of these data, there's people who make a huge amount of money betting on the statistics, and I'm not saying that there is any particular way. It's whatever floats your boat. But I am old-fashioned. I used to write down on a pen and paper on a Monday how I would bet, what percentage I would give to the home and away and the draw in every single match. That's how I used to do it. And I look at the bets. The prices never used to come out till a Tuesday or Wednesday on the coupon. The old football coupon. Now,
yes, I remember. Yeah.
So that would come out on a Tuesday morning, and I'd look at my odds, and I'd find 6 or 7 teams that I like, and I'd bet them. Nowadays, I still think that nobody in the betting industry now, that really knows what an odds are. No one knows what they're betting. They
just computers are setting odds.
The computer says, yeah, and I think that's wrong. You need to know. You need to know what value is. The value is the key element of any betting. You have to be able to see value and represent value, and think, that's what I want to do.
How was the tennis actually treated you this week, Nigel? Because does it feel like a hangover this week after a major?
I feel like
you had great success, didn't you?
I feel like having a hangover. I felt a hangover this morning after last night. I can tell you that. That's the only hangover I've got. I had a few bottles of red last night at a tapas bar. Feel a bit rough today, and I'm late. I still feel. I've just recorded another booking here. We've got 2 bookings after half an hour. That's good. It's an Arsenal booking for Ben White. So this week's this tournament this week has been an awful tournament after the highs of the Australian Open. But after this show, I'm recording an ATP Tour show, betting weekly game bet match with Sean Calvert, and there's 3 events this week. So yeah, there's some good tennis coming up though in the next few months. I mean, you've got a big tournament in Dubai in a couple of weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, big tournament. Then we go into the American swing with Indian Wells and Miami. So some real big tournaments coming up. And this is my favourite time of the year, sort of March. The next month when the spring comes, the fall over in just going into the spring, and then we have all the big tournaments at stakes. That's lovely. I think it's going to be another booking here.
I just saw what I didn't get was you played the big major in Australia, and then the next tour event is in Montpellier. I'm like, what?
Yeah, but none of the players who played in it. Yeah, but none of the players who played in it, like if anybody played in it, they would have been knocked out in the first round or second round. None of the big players are playing in that. They only play in the 500s or the 1000s. So they don't. You won't see like Sinner, and that won't come out for another couple of weeks. They'll probably go to Qatar, and then they'll probably go to Dubai, and then that'll be it. But they won't be messing about with that tournament.
Big shout out and big thanks to all of you who watched the Australian Open shows and this week's shows on with the tennis. There's some great numbers that we put up. So I must say some excellent content, Nigel, Sean, Rory. Fair play to you guys, and thanks all for watching. Yeah,
it was very good, and lots of stuff. Then, and like I say in the show, it doesn't matter where you bet tennis with. It could be in Kazakhstan or the Australian Open. It makes no difference as long as you cash a ticket, and those boys and will mark your card and steer you in the right direction in those tournaments on the tennis as well.
Going back to soccer, and I get asked questions every week about who's going to win the title here, who's going to win the title there. And I've just looked across all the mainstream European leagues, and I think everywhere, apart from France, where PSG have, I think, 8-point gap, it's such a tight title race. Even somewhere like Portugal's a 3-way battle. Premier League's really close this season. You got Girona. There's people talking about them as a Leicester City story in La Liga. We got Leverkusen in Germany. 2-way battle in Serie A. I mean, these are exciting times for title races across Europe, Nigel. Why do you think it's just so close everywhere at the moment? Has football changed? Has the financial market made it change? It's more competitive.
I think if you look at let's be honest with you. I mean, if you go back this time last season and the season before, heading in this time, there has been close title races. I mean, we had Borussia Dortmund have pushed Bayern Munich close. Leipzig have been up there at this time of the year as well. And the Italian title race Napoli weren't clear, at the top of the table this time of the season either. So there has always been a sort of a competitive title race at this time of the season. Whether we're going to say that in 2 months' time, because this is where the games come thick or fast, and the big
is this
squads.
When the classy teams pull away? This is the time of year where you get your points.
Yeah, this is they go on that unbelievable success, and this is where I mean, when you were talking about the title race, I was going to say, yeah, okay, there's a title race now, but Real Madrid will win it, Bayern Munich will win it, and more likely Manchester City will win it. So it's not going.
Well, is this now the time? Get a parlay on. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Man City.
I mean,
pick probably Inter Milan.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I haven't really followed the title race very closely across the European events. That sort of obviously the Girona story is a remarkable story. I've kept abreast of that, but Real Madrid will just do what Man City have done. They just hit when the pressure gets on them. They're gonna come on.
I mean, they're 1-7 favourites to win.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got Bayern Munich play. This weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, next week,
against Leverkusen. So that's going to be a huge matchup. So, I mean, yes, it is all exciting at the moment, but I think you'll find that the cream will rise to the top when we get down to the nitty gritty here.
I've heard from our handicappers on the excellent European show, Daniele Fisichella. Is he
going to win again this week, Daniel?
He has won. He's 6 in a row. I mean,
we're getting 6 times he's won.
6 times champ.
I'm going to have to come on it. Get rid
We're
of
getting
him.
halfway towards Phil Taylor territory here, aren't we?
Jeez, 6 times. Six
Yeah,
times.
he nailed a really good, a massive plus 200 same game parlay today in Serie A. It was in the Napoli game, so three legs to it, and he nailed it. So he's absolutely been on fire. But I know he said a few times that he believes Inter will go on and get the title. I know our Spanish handicapper Rory Barlow has been in Real Madrid's camp for the last few months. In fact, at one point, he even didn't think Girona would finish in the top 4. Well, I think he's probably changed his mind on that now. But
I'm going to bet Girona now then.
And who else? Bloody hell, I'm losing my track now. Yeah, I know Will White's model also strongly would support Real Madrid.
I get the Real Madrid,
as it would with most.
When you talk about models and talking about like I think the Vanity Post football for futures, I think models are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I think that
Shane just asked me here, maybe you as well, Nigel. Barcelona in disarray. Do I see Napoli dumping out in the Champions League last 16? I think that's a toss-up game. I would back the underdog, whoever is the underdog is there. I don't actually know the odds, Shane, right now. Top of my head, I would imagine Barcelona are the favourites, but I think that could go all the way extra time penalties.
Would they be favourites? Would they, Barcelona? Just by name, yeah.
I'm going to look now.
Yeah, but
I'm going to
look Barcelona. I can't believe it. Barcelona are favourites to win in Napoli.
In the first leg?
In the first leg in April, 155. Napoli are plus 160. Draw no bet. Napoli does seem a nice little play there, surely.
Well, over the 2 legs, you've got to remember Barcelona not even playing at the new camp either. I know they're still at home, but they're not the Camp Nou. So I think the value would be with Napoli there. I think it could be quite. I'm not sure there's many goals in that tie, Nigel. I think both have been misfiring too much for my liking. Although Victor Osimhen coming back into the fold, depends what sort of frame of mind he's in. He's going to be the most sought after striker in the world this summer. So he really want to put himself in the shop window. He probably will.
You were saying about the title race. We were talking about the title race. We don't cover it, but the Portuguese title race is going to be Sporting Lisbon, Benfica, and Porto.
That's brilliant.
Sporting Lisbon are top of the table, 49 points, 48 points. In May, myself and Simon Holden are going to Portugal. We're going to try it. We're going to go and watch Sporting with Benfica.
Ooh, that's a tasty one. That is a tasty one. I don't often bet in that league. I was involved around Christmas because there wasn't much else on, and them top 3. Braga are not a bad side either. Actually, always a good technical watch, the Portuguese sides. But that title race is usually, sometimes you get like a head-to-head where you got Porto, Benfica, but for 3 of them to be right in the mixer is quite interesting, Nigel, I must say. But it's exciting times as a soccer fan in Europe and across the world, and then heading into the Euros as well towards the summer. So this game,
we're England going to win it. We're England going to win
Gareth
it.
Southgate, Mr. Gareth Safegate.
We're going to win it, mate.
Calling him.
It's coming home. Trust me, it's coming home. I honestly think England are going to win it, but I would not have 1 penny on them at the current odds, 3-1. Absolute ridiculous price. I think they will win it, but would I bet them? Absolutely not a chance. Would I bet them? But I'll be there. I'm going for the knockout stage.
Yeah, you've got a few matches booked in, right?
Quarterfinal, semi-final, final.
Wow.
Booked it up. I've done my little. I'm flying to Dusseldorf. Then go to Dortmund to watch the semi-final, which is 45 minutes on a train from Dusseldorf, and then fly to Berlin and have the final in Berlin.
What are you most looking forward to about the food over in Germany?
Nothing. Nothing. I don't even like the beer. I don't like the Pilsner. I don't like it.
Hold on a minute. There's some decent beers over in Germany.
Nah, I don't like it.
I can just see you at a restaurant or bar now. Ein großer Bier. How do you say bitter?
Big
I'm
lager,
trying to
mate.
My German.
Big lager, mate. That's what I'm after. But no, it's I had wheat beer. Oh God, it was horrible. England will win it, Shane. So get your. I was chatting to a friend of mine yesterday about England, and we were both agreeing that England will win it. But I think if you think England are going to win it, and you could still cop this bet if we can go to the final. But if England are going to win it, right, Jude Bellingham at 10-1 to be the player of the tournament is definitely the bet, because
whoa, yeah, that would be a big price.
That if England are 3-1 to win it, but I mean, the only person who could probably beat him is Harry Kane, but they're not good. I don't see Bellingham is the future of world football, isn't he? He's going to be the next Ballon d'Or winner, and he's the future. They'll want him to have a brilliant tournament, and I think if England win it or even get the final, Bellingham at 10-1 to be the player of the tournament is the way to do it. So instead of 3-1 England, I'd be betting 10-1 Bellingham to win it.
That is actually a very good shout, because that's value, isn't it? I'm totally with you there, Nigel. But so that's going to be pretty much it for this show. Next week we've got a new guest on, I do believe.
Yeah, this is big news. Big news. We've got big news. It's the Super Bowl next week, isn't it? In Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So the big show is going to come on to do the show while the Premier League's on, and the Super Bowl, the build up to the Super Bowl, and we've got a new guest who some of you will know, who's been on shows before, but he's one of the biggest. Well, he's one of the best American football judges over here in the UK as well. And it's a professional poker player, professional gambler, Neil Channing. Neil Channing, my old mate Neil. I've known Neil for 30 years now, 25, 30 years. He will be on the show tomorrow, and that will next week, and that'll be good watch, because Neil likes to talk, Steve. It could be going on for 3.5 hours. You could start off half time in the Premier League, and we could run into the Super Bowl show. I mean, that's the length. The big prop next week is going to be the length of the national anthem sung, but I want to do a prop the length of the reaction show next week. I think we could go into 2 hours with Neil. I think it could be a real long one.
Well, I've not actually ever talked to him, but I mean, I know he's one of the most renowned gamblers in the whole of the UK. Overall, and I'm excited to get him on the show and quiz his brains about several things. But it sounds like he might have plenty to say back in return.
He can talk. Neil does like a chat. He's very knowledgeable. When he does talk, it's usually a lot of common sense, so that'd be interesting. Is there another booking? Is he going to book Kai Havertz? It could be. Oh, and they think he should have booked him.
Is he going to put him in? He should have. I'm telling you, Havertz for a booking in running, right? Because eventually he will. That should have been a booking.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, come on!
No, it should have been. Yeah, it is a booking.
Are you absolutely kidding me? That is a yellow all day long.
He didn't book him.
Right, I'm get on even more in running. Kai Havertz for a booking.
Maybe more. I'll get more.
Arteta takes him up.
Let's give you some updates here on this match. So basically, as we stand now, what I mean, Liverpool have been really poor, actually, what I've seen.
I think next goal, I mean, the minute, half time, again, it's a game of two halves, isn't it? Soccer. So.
Cliche. It's a game of two halves.
This is cutthroat analysis from Steve Wyss, right?
Tough place to go.
Right, at the minute, you would say Arsenal next goal.
Would you?
Wouldn't you? But, well, yeah.
I tell you what, if you look at Liverpool's record in second halves, it's unbelievable.
Well, that's what I mean. A lot can change after the break. Arsenal might look back. If Arsenal don't win the game, they might look back on this first half and shit, we should have been 2 up.
Do you know what I'm going to go, Steve? No, I'm going to go for. I'm going to go $8 Liverpool to win it.
Oof. Wow, that's a big in-running call.
Liverpool come back and win it. Come back second half. Arsenal become complacent. Liverpool win it 2-1. Over 2.5 as well.
This is a ridiculous parlay suggestion for the Super Bowl next week from Paul Laguna, by the way.
Kelsey proposed to Taylor Swift. 7-1. Is that all you're going to get for that?
700 plus 700. Oh, hold on. Is that all it is?
Yeah,
it's got to be more than that, isn't it?
It'd be around 700.
No, he's 700 to 1. He's 700 to 1. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? But
is another booking? This could be a booking. It's got to be a booking.
This got to be a yellow. I think this.
We've seen a lot of like fiery tackles in. He's not giving the card. It should have been.
The booking should have been in already.
He stood on the back of his leg. That's a clean. Look at this.
That's Luis Diaz. Yeah, mate. I mean, we have 2 cards.
We had 2. He's going to. I don't think he's going to give him a booking. He's having a word with him, but I don't think he's going to give him a booking.
Well, Anthony Taylor, isn't it? He's one of those who probably stores this up, and then second half he's going to be dishing them like confetti.
Well, let's hope so.
So you think Liverpool will win? You think
Liverpool win? Liverpool win 2-1. Come back and win this. 8:50. Get on half time.
There we go. That's a bet to finish it off with for Nigel Seeley.
Brilliant second half. Liverpool. They come out firing second half. So I can't remember a game Liverpool haven't scored. This
Won the
season.
most points from any other team in the Premier League from a losing position this season. So
there you go.
That
850
would support your bet here, Nigel.
Yeah.
But thanks for your company on the reaction show. I think you're back on in 2 or 3 weeks. We've got Simon Holden's due back on at some point as well. I know. We've got a right treat of show. All Sundays this month in February, we've got reaction shows. We've got Neil on a couple of times, yourself, Simon Holden as well. So, keep them coming. Keep those questions coming in as well. Thanks for anyone who's been watching live or on demand. Feel free to get in touch with us at any time. Follow the Because We Win Instagram account. That's it's had a bit of a... I tell you what, I've been really impressed with that content recently on Instagram, Nigel. The parlay won yesterday, plus 300. Not quite today, but always next time. We won 2 of the last 3 parlays on Instagram, so that is an account worth following. I'll see if I can find my link and put it in the chat now. But want to keep an eye on.
All right, then, bud. Listen, well, good luck, and let's hopefully we get some cars in the second half. There's only been 1 corner in this match as well, which surprised me. 1 corner. So. Yeah.
409 North, thanks very much for your kind thoughts, and thanks very much for everyone as well. I'll put the link there in to that Instagram account. Get following it if you're not already. We'll see you next week. Nigel, take care.
Take care, mate.